Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Azola Mzegandaba. I'll be your host for today here at Entrepreneurship to the Point. We're basically a platform that informs, inspires, and equips. Please follow our newsletter at www.ettp.co.za. When you do subscribe to our newsletter, the great thing that happens is that you're going to be privy to all our webinars that are happening. You'll get invites to all of them. So please do subscribe. Also follow us on YouTube. We have our YouTube channel also at Entrepreneurship to the Point. We're currently live on YouTube as well. Please also follow us on all our other social media platforms, that being LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter, using the same handle. Today, we have like a young budding entrepreneur. His name is Tebogo Lincoln Mohali. He is the owner of Guarding Technology Security Services, part of the essential services. So this is a person who's been working during the lockdown. So it'd be great just to find out from someone who's been doing some work during this time. As I see, Tebogo is online now and he's joined us. Tebogo, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Afternoon, Azola. I'm good. How are you doing?
No, I'm fantastic, man. I'm gravitating at a beautiful frequency. That means the spirit is connected with the flesh. So I'm doing very well. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I can't complain.
Sure. I see you're sporting a really cool haircut, man. Where did you get that haircut during this time?
Connections, Azola, connections.
No, don't worry. We'll just take that one offline. So yeah, Tebogo, thank you so much for joining us today. It's just really great to have you here, especially like to have someone who's young like you in such a critical and interesting industry at the time. You know, the times that we're having now, like we look at the political climate, a lot of people have been speaking about the monopoly on violence that governments have and security services have like during this time. We have like a couple of cases here in South Africa, some sad cases, you know, of really like tough things that have happened to certain people during this lockdown process, just given the force that security forces have used. And given that you are in the security services industry, hopefully I'll be able to prick your brain during this time. But like, we'll start it off easy, you know, like start it off easy. Okay. So like, please tell us, like, what's your story? What's Lincoln's story in terms of like, how did we get here? How did we get here today to having this webinar and speaking about your business?
Okay. Well, my story, I mean, starts in 2010, pretty much. And I was exposed to the security sector by mere means of me being in for a CPO. So what a CPO is would be a close protection officer. And this was during the World Cup era. I was doing a lot of filling in for some of the CPOs that were not available, or with if the company I was working for at that point was short-staffed. At that point, I remember the gentleman that had approached me, just by merely looking at my physique, right? He just felt the need to just say, you know what, you're the perfect candidate for this. And obviously then he gave me the opportunity. I was exposed to the security sector in 2010. I didn't follow through or really move into or take, sorry, I didn't follow through into the industry till about 2012. 2012, an opportunity came onto my lap where we were actually escorting commodities. At that point, I remember Elite Security Group at that time hadn't been established yet. Then I brought in a few partners for us to be able to provide services for this particular client. However, just because of relationships, you know, I'm very good at maintaining and building relationships. The client had then requested that I actually open up my own security business and maintain and focus on their that portfolio on my own. So it has been a journey since 2012. GT Security now has been established since 2012. We've been growing from stride to stride. You know, we've been through the the challenges in the industry. There's a lot happening in the industry, as you've mentioned now, and yeah, we've slowly been growing as a business.
Oh, no, that's fantastic to hear. I remember actually prior to knowing you on a personal level, meeting you at the Virgin Active in Norwood, Old Ed's gym, and I'd always be like, yo, that guy is pretty big, eh? So it just makes sense exactly when you say that you were just seen and like someone was like, you look like someone who should be in the security industry. There's an old age adage which says what you are seeking is seeking you. So I suppose that's what really happened in your case. But like, just to touch on something you mentioned over there, you talked about Elite Security, and then you talk about now GTS. I understand that you've been in a process of rebranding. Can you just tell us more about that? Like, why did you feel a need to rebrand? Do you think marketing is actually also, it's a twofold question. Why you rebrand, and also, do you think marketing is necessary for security companies?
Okay, so just touching on the rebranding side, when we started the company as Elite Tactical Group, one of the issues that we had, and which was quite a sensitive and controversial issue during that time and era, was that we were sharing a name with a similar company, which was involved in a few sensitive subjects and topics, scandals as well as that. At that point, we were obviously, based on my integrity and based on the relationships I've created and clients that knew me, right? They knew that we were not involved in any of this. Nonetheless, the names were quite similar. However, this was not giving us opportunities going forward, because what we then found was that in every meeting, we would constantly be questioned based on the name of the company. So it was very important for us to move away from that name, merely because of the what was attached, the bad stigma that was attached to the name. Then we formed GTS Security, and that's abbreviated for Guarding and Technology Security, which simply states what exactly we do. We are a guarding services, but integrate all our services with technology services. So for most of our sites, we maintain our sites, and we give full access to our clients where they can be able to observe and monitor their sites from home remotely. They are able to assess the activities that happen on site remotely, whether it's on a PC, on a laptop, but we still maintain the manpower, because we do believe that labor force is still required in order for us to be able to maintain our sites. You need that instinct as a human being to be able to maintain your sites. So that's been what it is. But on a lighter side of things, moving into, or the rebranding as per se, it was very important for us, because it is very, very, very important. It's a key factor for every security business that we maintain the marketing and the rebranding, as well as the sales part of the business. It's either finding new innovative and creative ways to enhance it if it's already there, and be able to get the exposure. And that's important for us as a company, to be able to maintain that, enhance the business, get clients to know about us, get clients to know what we're about, what services we can offer to them. And they really wouldn't know if the company does not tell them. So as a security, we can do for companies as well as our clients.
Ah, fantastic. That's really good to hear, Tebogo. It seems like you're using a hybrid model, which is very progressive and necessary really in the market. I've seen like a lot of security companies have gone the tech side. And given the times that we're in right now with the coronavirus lockdown and mainly all things being done remotely, I think you're in the sweet spot. But I don't want to monopolize the questions on this platform. So all our listeners, please remember, you are allowed and are encouraged more than anything else to ask questions at any time. We do have a chat platform, so please direct questions to the chat platform. You can ask Tebogo anything. He's here. He's got the freshest haircut on the audience. And yeah, so just direct any questions you might have for Tebogo. Tebogo is a gentle giant. He's even smiling right now. It's fantastic to have you online. Guys, please remember, do subscribe to our newsletter, www.ettp.co.za. And we're also live right now on YouTube, so you can follow us on our YouTube channel as well. We're streaming and all our other social media platforms. The security space, like a lot of buildings right now are vacant. How do you feel like the business is going to be impacted, like the security industry? How do you feel it's going to be impacted by the coronavirus? Like, have you already started seeing some different changes or nuances? How has it affected your business? Again, twofold questions. I think I'm loving the twofold questions today. How has it affected your business, number one?
Yeah.
And how do you think it's going to affect the security industry in general?
Okay. Well, I do believe that, we're going through quite a very testing time right now, each and every business. As a security business, the beginning stages, obviously that has affected us in a positive way. We've been operational ever since. We haven't closed down shop. However, I am quite worried about what's in the near future because most of our clients are either small businesses, medium to large businesses, and some clients, even large businesses, have to come to a point where they either going into business rescue or they are closing down shop. So in a later stage, us as a service provider or security as an essential service may be something that a client will require but cannot afford. So it has been quite a challenge for some of our clients because we've had clients that couldn't be able to pay us. However, we've had to find ways how we can kind of accommodate these clients during these testing times. And if we need to sit down and strategize how we can, create some sort of payment plans, and it's what it is what it is. Unfortunately, there's not much that can be done about this situation. We really, really going through a very testing time, and it's only for us to be a bit more sensitive towards the situation in assisting also our clients to be able to say that, we are in this together and we will support where we can as a business.
All right, no, fantastic. Thank you so much, Lincoln. And then the second part of the question was like, how do you think the industry is going to be affected going forward? And what type of strategies has Guarding Technology Security Services put in place, to mitigate against the risks of any of these challenges?
Well, I can tell you now, Azola, the security industry, as we've all been aware, is slowly moving into the technology space. So we're moving slowly into, a lot of what you call is biometrics and a lot of technologies that can be able to do what the labor side of things can do without that physical contact, right? As we understand so far, there's only much that we understand about the coronavirus, but as we understand so far, most of it is by contact. It's a contact virus. It's a airborne virus. There's a lot of speculations that are happening about how the virus can be spread around. So one of the things that we are taking into consideration as a company is trying to find easier and more suitable ways where we can maintain your security at your premises or at your home or your office space without too much labor intensity. So by what I mean by that, without bringing in too many workman force. We're trying to minimize on that, and obviously bringing in the technology side of things so that they can assist, onto our sites and everything. So those kind of technologies, we were actually having a discussion with with another security a colleague of mine who's in the space, and we were talking about how lately we've seen all of these new walk in sanitizer zones where you actually need to, you get sanitized or you get screened before you walk into an area. And those are very important because not only are we focusing on the guarding side of securing your premises, but we need to also secure your life. So everything here, plays a role. So health security is coming into play. So a lot of equipment and gadgets that we'll be coming into play are a lot of health security gadgets that will assist us in order to mitigate or to minimize the risk of security. We've got phenomenal gadgets. Some gadgets actually work on a lot of face recognition. So you, as a client walking in a premises, you no longer have to put in your finger, not understanding who before you had put that finger on a fingerprint biometric scanner, versus now us substituting that with the face recognition tool, where a client can just walk up and that boom gate can open from them just screening out the face. So those are a few of the examples I can give you, but we can go on and on about this conversation.
It does sound like you have quite a comprehensive service offering. You mentioned quite a few things that I didn't really know about at all. You mentioned that you're not only safeguarding lives, but you're guarding people's health. You're talking about health security. This is like what Lincoln from Guarding Technology Security Services is saying is part of his service offering, not only just guarding people, but also guarding lives with health security. Please still, one more time, questions are open. I'm seeing like a lot of people are quiet. I don't know. It used to be like just the day before the weekend. Some people used to say it's Thursday, it's nearly in the weekend, but those days are gone. Now it's every day, the same day, but every day and each and other day, we still have our platform here at ETTP. Please subscribe to our newsletter at ettp.co.za. We're also live on YouTube. Please find us also on other social media platforms, LinkedIn, Twitter, as well as Instagram. I'm still waiting for the questions. I'm hoping like we'll have some questions, but it seems like there's no more questions. Lincoln, I don't know if you have any parting words. Maybe you can just close off with something that you'd want to tell viewers about, and then I'll close off the conversation.
Okay, so just to add on, obviously, onto our services that we focus on, just on the platform, I'll just take the opportunity for those who don't know about the service and the company, just to introduce to them and just to give them more an understanding of what we do. So currently we're doing a lot of guarding services. So we are a 24/7 guarding services. We maintain a lot of access controls. So this is your installations, your boom gate installations, your biometrics installations, your face recognition installations, as well as executive security. We do a lot of escorting as well as a company. So this is a lot of executive escorting, commodity escorting, valuable items, things like that we maintain, as well as events. You can just check up on our website. We are www.gtssecurity.co.za. So it's GTS Security. So it's 2 S's right there. Or just if there's anyone who for information that they may require, you can just drop us an email on info@gtssecurity.co.za.
Thank you, Lincoln. Thank you so much for that. We'll be closing it off today with that note. But Lincoln, just remind me, wherever you got your barber, I'll give you a shout offline just to make sure I know where you got that barber from. Next up, next week, Monday, we've got Bongani.
I see a question here.
Pardon?
I see a question here. I think it's from Karen.
So Karine is asking, what is Lincoln's advice for entrepreneurs? So I think Karine is basically asking, what advice would you give entrepreneurs?
Yeah. I think most importantly, as an entrepreneur, you got to know why exactly you're going into whatever field or whatever sector that you are interested in going into. The why factor is the key one. I can tell you right now, Azola, when I started my business in 2013, despite the fact of being exposed to obviously the industry, there was a bigger purpose that I was trying to fulfill. And being an entrepreneur coming from the township, there's limited opportunities for us or limited resources. But then again, I always come in a debate with my youngsters that are in these spaces and say that conversation is debatable, because it's always about the attitude that you have, and the perseverance, the drive that you have as a young businessman. Are you capable? Are you willing to kind of go through those trialing times as a business, or are you just coming in for the fashion, right? And my why was always two answers when every time I was asked why, right? Personally, it was more to create value into my life and to obviously bring value into my living circumstances, but more of a bigger purpose to it. It was more to bring value into other people's lives as well. And what I mean by this is that, my impact that I'm currently bringing into the townships is really, really a positive one, where I'm finding a lot of youngsters that are looking up to me and really, really being motivated or inspired to being into positions. It will take you longer. It will take you some time because you're doing it alone. You don't have the capacity or you don't have the networks. You don't have the capacity in terms of financial backings. You don't have so many things. But if you take it for what it is, you have your drive, you have your determination, you have your focus, all of that, it will pay off sooner or later. I've went through so many trying times as a young business, and I think there were times where it really tests you as a person. How strong can you stick in there? So the why question is very, very key. A lot of people go into business lately for fashion, just for the sake of I want to own a business, or whoever I know is owning a business. You understand?
Yes.
But it really has to come with it really has to have a foundation of substance. You have to start your business, and it has to have a solid foundation, and you need to really understand as an entrepreneur, what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. Work on them as an individual, work on them and slowly get better and better. And that's all I can say.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lincoln. Thank you for joining us today. As a young person as well, it's been such an inspiration just to hear from you. It's one thing to hear advice. It's another thing to see people actually do the actual job, So thank you so much for being an inspiration to young people. And speaking about being an inspiration to young people, our next call, which is going to be next week on the 28th of May, which is 25th of May, beg my pardon, 25th of May, which is Monday, 2:30. We're going to be having Bongani Magudu. She has Magudu and Associates. That's her company. We're looking at women in property. So with looking at women in property, we'll be exploring tenant installations. So she's been doing some tenant installations in a variety of spaces. So that will be our next in conversation on Monday. So for today, thank you so much. Please do remember to subscribe to our newsletter at www.co.za. I'm sorry, we've run out of time for today. We'll have to close it here now. Thank you so much, Lincoln. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks, Azola.
Thanks. Cheers, listeners. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.